We have seen that the hoop stress in a pipe can be determined by P d over 2 T. In a previous lesson, we've shown that in order to derive this equation, we had to assume that the inner diameter of the pipe is roughly the same as the outer diameter, meaning that the wall thickness of the pipe is small compared to the diameter. This is what we call thin-walled piping. The related assumption is that the variation of the hoop stress is negligible through the wall. In other words, that the stress is constant through the wall. In this lesson, we will take a closer look at the actual wall stresses if we don't make this thin-walled assumption. As we will see, without this assumption, things will get complicated quickly. You can download the full derivation after this video, but we will focus on the method for now. The first step in deriving the pipe wall stresses is to divide the pipe wall into the small theoretical elements. These elements all have a thickness of delta r, circumferential length of delta phi, and longitudinal length of delta L. Step 2 is to determine the force balance of such an element. As the element is in static equilibrium, the sum of all forces working on the element will be 0. Writing down this equation in full, we see what we meant when we said things get complicated quickly. The next step would be to reorganize this equation and integrate through the entire wall thickness. As we said, we will not go into much detail in this video. For now, take our word that solving this approach results in so-called Lemay's equations for thick-walled piping. Lemay's equations provide the stresses in the 3 normal stress directions: hoop, radial, and axial or longitudinal. They include the internal pressure, Pi, the outside pressure, Po, the inner and outer radius, Ri and Ro, and the variable radius, R. We clearly see that these equations are more complicated than Pd over 2T, which we use so far. But remember, for these equations, no thin-walled assumption was made, which makes these equations generally valid for thick and thin-walled pipes, although they are typically only used for thick-walled piping. They contain a constant term and a term which is variable through the wall, so a function of r. These equations show that the stresses actually vary through the wall, well, at least the hoop and radial stress. This is not the case for the stress in the longitudinal direction. Let's now look at the through-the-wall stress distribution of each of these normal stresses for a pipe in which the internal pressure is higher than the external pressure. As mentioned, the hoop stress varies through the pipe wall. We see that the maximum value is at the inner diameter, since the variable term declines proportionally to 1 over r squared. The radial stress is compressive and also varies through the pipe wall. Because it is compressive, the wall stress is negative. At the inner diameter, the pipe is compressed most, and hence, the absolute stress is the highest at this location. The stress then again declines proportionally to 1 over r squared. Finally, the longitudinal stress is constant through the wall, as it only has a constant factor in the equation, which is not dependent on r. So this results in a stress profile, which is constant through the wall. Similar to the equations for thin-walled piping, the highest of these stresses is the hoop stress, or to be more exact, the hoop stress maximum is the highest normal stress in the pipe wall.